We are here at this time, and we bid you greetings, and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis of Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to all who are tuning in to this particular broadcast being brought forward through your internet collective consciousness. What we would like all of you at this time to do is simply allow yourselves to get relaxed, get comfortable, and tune in to the vibrations of Sirius, so that you may synchronize, harmonize, and align to all the information that we have to share. Also understand that all of the information that we shall provide is simply that of our perspective, our point of view. For all knowledge, all information, all creation itself resides within your very hearts, beings, and souls. As it has been stated by the conduit earlier throughout this particular transmission, that yes, there is, in fact, a transformational announcement that we wish to share with all of you. It is fundamentally true that you will be moving into a full fourth density nexus. The idea in that sense, what you would understand as, shall we say, the accumulation of the fourth density energies blanketing your planet. Now, this will still lead to a transitional effect. But basically, you would understand that what the conduit has stated earlier pertaining to a Swiss cheese effect representing a barrier. The barrier will drop approximately around the time of your fall equinox, approximately around that time. When that happens, the blanketing of the fourth density energy will now start to saturate your planet. And so you will notice that there will be a very large effect taking place. This will lead into very accelerative transformations pertaining to your own governmental agendas, pertaining to your own political agendas, pertaining to your own monetary agendas, your sociological agendas, your educational agendas, your personalized agendas. All of this will be shifting dramatically. This is basically what you would know as the ascent. Now, we are not referring to it as an ascension, but we are referring to it as an ascent. And that this particular ascent, in that sense, is those who, shall we say, are on the catapult to their own states of empowerment will be launched. So basically, we could state that you have now, at this time, as you're in the month of April, then moving into the month of May, moving into the month of June, moving into the month of July, moving into the month of August, and moving into the month of September, that approximately within the next 6 months of your time, you will start to see this catapult effect, what we would refer to as the Earth Re-Infrastructuring Agenda, Phase 1, to take effect. So this is basically part of what we would know as the 8-year span of change. And that basically what is happening is that there is a drape, there is a blanket coming together, and that you will notice this intensity. You will feel that, again, there will be a great feeling of, shall we say, duality between two sides. The idea of those, in that sense, that represent your rogue elites and those that represent the people. And that the people, in that sense, will become outraged. There will be specific injustices taking place upon your planet between now and these next few months. That, again, will represent the idea of feeling that your own particular opinions, your sharings, your ability to, in that sense, demand equality will be met with particular forms of resistance from the idea of these rogue elite groups. It is very important that you remain steadfast pertaining to this. There will be certain forms of, shall we say, agendas that are not coming to pass, but many feel that they still feel they will, relating to the idea of what you would know as martial law, relating to the idea of what you would know as a hoax extraterrestrial invasion. These, again, will not happen, but there will be a lot of discussions pertaining to martial law, to the idea of police states, to the idea, in that sense, bringing forward tyrannical empires, attempting to, in that sense, scare individuals pertaining to hoax UFO sightings. So again, these are agendas that have, in that sense, been planned, but again, they are foiled, they are averted. However, the idea of the fear will try to create these particular types of propagandas. And again, this is all part of what you would know as a colossal shift that is taking place. What we would state is that Team Light, the lightness, as all of you are, is prevailing. And that the idea is that there is a great deal of frustration, there is a great deal of anxiety as it pertains to your rogue groups, to your oligarchs, to your, shall we say, 0.00001% that are still attempting to maintain their empire, even though there is no possible way that that can ever be achieved again. You are again, through those of you upon your western area of your world, your North America in that sense, are paying a great deal of attention to this upcoming election. This election holds a primary catalyst to the idea of this fourth density ascent. We will say that again. This particular election coming up holds a very strong catalyst as it relates to your fourth density ascent. The leader whom you choose will therefore represent the idea of how all of you collectively are part of that particular person and moving into that particular agenda, relating to the idea of, in that sense, beginning the grassroots as the mainstream. You will notice again that there will be fundamental shifts taking place within your banking arenas, relating to the retirement of certain currencies that have been what you would know as fiat. This again has reached a peak, as we have talked about before. But basically, in that sense, what the big announcement here is the transition into fourth density, is moving into the idea of the blanketing upon your planet in that way. And that again, that this is an Earth re-infrastructuring agenda, what we refer to as era. So you are shifting into a new era in that way. That is how we will put it. There will be, again, certain forms of information pertaining to disclosure that will continue to expose the energies of suppression, the energies of stagnation. There are imminent aspects of release that are looking to happen around the times of your summer. So around the times of your summer, you can feel that there is a very high calculation, not 100%, but a very high calculation of probability that you will see another large data dump taking place upon your planet on a worldwide level. Now again, your Western world will be affected, your Eastern world will be affected. This will not be what you would know as a sugar-coated psychological operation. This will be a part of what you would know as a grassroots effort to actually unleash a particular data dump that you would consider to be the Snowden documents to be a cookie crumb compared to this data dump. So again, this is looking to happen within around the time of your summer of your 2016 year. Again, this is a calculation. This is a probability of the momentum as it exists now. This can always change, but we feel the probability of this happening is approximately 75 to 77%. You will notice again that as you move closer into the fall, into the winter time, that many of you will be having certain forms of, shall we say, elevated experiences, elevated enhancements of consciousness. Not everybody, but a lot of you are basically going to be contacted by many different liaisons that represent other extraterrestrial beings. We are aware of the entity that we have spoken to previously, relating to her name as Alina Kopolnik, one of the secret space program insiders, and that she has also stated with us that approximately around the time of September, there will be discrete sightings taking place upon your planet meant for certain individuals and groups. We will confirm this now. This will be taking place. There will be certain forms of connections. There will be certain types of sightings. There will be specific areas of communication that will take place through liaison capacity of others who have, in that sense, now discovered these particular types of connections that may exist extraterrestrially, extra-dimensionally, will now start to take place. This is therefore giving you the idea of, shall we say, a further upgrade, a further enhancement to your own being, the realization that you have actually switched planets. Now, this is basically what's happening. Within the time of your fourth density shift, you will be moving into another new Earth. So around the time of the fall equinox reaching the completion in the times of your winter solstice of 2016, many of you will be moved upon another dimensional Earth that will look very much similar but not exact to the Earth that you are on now. So this is precisely what happens. So again, as you move into your fall equinox, your autumnal equinox, the 3-month period in that way is the transitional effect, going through the tunnel, as it were, pertaining to the idea of the shift. We say 3 months because everyone will experience it differently. And moving into the times of your winter solstice, moving into the aspect of a new fourth density planet. So you will basically be in a new octave of density pertaining to the fourth. Again, for many of you, not everybody on your planet will do this, will experience this. However, you will be able to continue to communicate with others in that sense who are still within a third density nexus. But basically, we could say that this is like a lock-in. This is like looking at a screened door. And this screen, in that sense, is a transparent film. And you are able to look back in regards to the third density individuals. You are not cut off from them entirely, but you have already sanctified yourself and locked yourself into place pertaining to a fourth density nexus. That is precisely what is happening. Once you are locked in, you cannot lock yourself back out. And so again, is basically for everybody here that is listening to this program, we can say confidently that many of you will make the shift. Many of you will move into fourth density that are watching this particular program, that are listening to this particular program through your internet collective consciousness. Those particular individuals, again, that have very much aligned themselves to the aspects of fear, of greed, of manipulation, will not be locked in to the idea of this fourth density earth. They will be locked out. Whatever exists behind the screen manifests the extreme of the energies that are carried karmically with those individuals. They will remain behind. They will not be locked in to the fourth density earth, and you will be witnessing the idea of their extremes of plummeting after the time of the late 2016 between your autumnal equinox and your winter solstice. That will be the time window, approximately around this point. Again, moving forward into 2017, the year of connection, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, you will notice again an enormous span of transformation of you moving into this new fourth density earth. This is the shift. This is the point of no return. This is the idea where you are making that ascent and you are moving into a reality pertaining to a new earth that will therefore govern the responsibilities of equal exchange pertaining to yourselves in love, in responsibility. When you reach this point of new earth, there will be other particular contacts, again, functioning incognito through your particular societies. We are receiving information now that there are, not all, but there are certain pointed liaisons existing within your Argothan networks that will be coming forward. Now, again, they are coming forward in regards to working together with certain ambassadors that are in the alignments to communicate with. You would think of this very similar as the energy of the entity that you know as Corey Good communicating with what he knows as his Spirit Being Alliance and Blue Avians. This is precisely what is happening with many of you. There will be certain forms of movements. There has basically been a decision made within the Argothan network pertaining to the inner Argothan beings of fourth density. Some have agreed to work together with human beings. Some are still, in that sense, in a bit of a confused state, not too sure about what they wish to do. But there are those, in that sense, who have created a movement, who have taken very seriously this information pertaining to you moving into this fourth density world and are willing to assist after much negotiation. So a truce has been made. Again, very proportionately, very partial in that way. In the basic way, partially, energetically, working together with some of you. So again, for those of you who are in alignment to that, these again would be humanoid beings. These would also represent beings that you would know as the Sasquatch. These would also represent certain reptilian entities. These also represent certain insectoid energies. These also represent extra-dimensional life forms that exist in between the fabrics of dimension that you would refer to as elementals. And that there are certain archived beings, in that sense, that have worked together on these dimensional planes, that have formed certain factions to work together and associate with your energies. So there is a partial portion of movement here happening within your own inner Argothan network that will come forward around the time of this span of change, and again assist in educating, assisting in mentoring specific individuals who have been in the alignment, a cross connection between these beings and yourselves. And so again, this is also something that is going to take place around this time of the span of change. This will also lead in regards to other extraterrestrial liaisons, as we've stated, pertaining to those who are in contracts together with them to come forward to assisting in enhancements, to assisting in mentoring, and to assisting in the idea of what you would know as intuitive growth, empowerment growth. That is the avenue that you are now on. So you can say that the momentum relating to this enormous shift, that this Earth restructuring agenda, that the new era is 99.9999999% probable, coming together in your fall of 2016. We thank you very much for allowing the opportunity of this interaction to commence and for this announcement to be shared. We will now allow ourselves to adjust the conduit momentarily so that we can now prepare for your questions. Thank you very much, Rob, and we may now proceed.
Thank you, Adronis, for sharing that very impactful news to a lot of people. We get direct feedback from those in the chat room, and there are a lot of people who are very excited and moved by that information. My question would be to the information you've just shared. You've expressed that this shift is in the utmost of highest probabilities, and that within our energy we understand as a collective we move forward to that fourth density. Is there any then chance of people who are not vibrationally ready for that fourth density experience to not shift in that time if everyone else does? And if so, what occurs at that point?
Well, understand, we thank you for your question. Understand that, again, that this is, shall we say, a very large uphill climb, that people in that sense who are still attempting to understand themselves, to understand their state of empowerment, can still do so, but again, it is a very large uphill climb because the energies that are upon your planet right now, the transit that your own star system is going through in the galaxy right now, holds a very intense time of energies. The reason why people will have such a problem in being able to reach a state of, shall we say, equilibrium with their own being is because of this particular transit, is because that all of the energies that are creating such an acceleration upon your planet right now are meant to, shall we say, purge out the emotional states of your being. When a person is, again, stacking them up so heavily that they are not allowing themselves to express those emotions, that they are not allowing themselves to shed the skin of themselves in that way of a figurative meaning, that basically this weighs them down. And basically in that idea, when they procrastinate, when they argue, when they conflict with themselves pertaining to this emotion, you have to understand that emotions themselves hold an energetic mass. And basically, if you are still holding on to a great deal of emotional karma, you are going to have a very challenging time lightening yourself up. And this is basically what has been taught not just by us, but by other particular forms of teachers, by other particular forms of channelers that are sharing that 2016 is the time of illumination, that 2016 is the time to allow karma to be transitioned, to allow it to liberate through you, through forgiveness and through love. You are now needed now more than ever before to allow yourself to share your love, to allow yourself to perform these simple acts of kindness, to assisting others in regards to knowing that they are beyond their emotions. But many of these particular beings in that sense that have been completely stacking up these heavy levels of emotion are weighing themselves down. As much as many of us would love to see them all strip off these emotional states, they have reached a point where they feel that it is hopeless, that it is not possible, and that they live together within these heavy emotional states, and they become very, very weighted. And that these particular forms of weights cannot be cast off by anybody else. They were the ones that implied these particular emotions upon themselves. It has been imposed. And so again, nobody else can help them in that particular way of removing these emotional states. And so again, through this acceleration of energy that's coming through all the cosmic stardust that is coming into your star system now, through the transformations of your own sun, through the incubation of all these energies working together in, shall we say, appropriate filtration of the prisms that exist throughout your star system, filtering this energy and creating an easement Much has been done behind the scenes to making this intervention as smooth as possible for your planet. But it again has particular types of challenges. This is why we have been talking about since 2009 that there is a physical splitting taking place upon your planet, and that this is again what you would refer to as the phase one of the particular split. The phase one represents the idea of activism, the idea of being able to let your voice be heard, share yourself, do your own inner work. Phase two represents the result of that particular work. Phase three represents the after effects. And so you are therefore moving into the transition of that tunnel that again will reach a culmination point within your winter solstice of 2016. So again, as much as all of us would love to see every single human being make this shift, there are just certain individuals upon your planet that have made the emotional baggage too heavy for themselves. And they have decided to themselves that this is helpless, that this is hopeless, and that they are incapable of doing that. Nobody can assist them into that realization to purge those energies but themselves.
Wonderful. Thank you for that answer so much. And if you do not object, I would like to start taking callers from the phone line.
You may do so.
Good evening.
702.
How are you?
Oh, hey, how we doing? Who do we have with us this evening?
This is Joshua.
All right, Joshua, the floor is yours.
I was listening to the questions regarding the transcending period of time that we have. Those that might have the emotional baggage not allowing them to transcend, is that only going to be applied during a certain window that you were talking about at the end of the solstice?
Basically, you will reach a point of culmination in regards to an accumulation of accomplishment, and that basically is where the window's up. We would refer to windows in your planet in regards to its nature as tally-ups. So basically, as you tally up totals in that particular way, that allows a window of release. What you would understand as your phase moon alignments, moving into a full moon cycle in that way, would represent one of these particular tallied up windows. So basically, in regards to the accomplishment of working together with your own feelings, that can be accomplished now. It is the energetic that you are feeling within yourself right now that is giving yourself the motivational permission slip to work together with these emotional states. So whether it be unhappiness with work, unhappiness with your financial situation, unhappiness in regards to relationships, whatever it may be, all of those particular forms of situations that build up an emotional response are there for a particular reason. They are sharing with you that there is a misalignment, and at any particular appointed time, you can allow those transformations to take place. Now, we are not saying that it is for all of you to be completely abolished of any emotion whatsoever. We are not saying that. In fact, there will be those of you who will shift into fourth density who will still have certain forms of emotional situations. What we are referring here as well is representing the energies that are very heavily weighting you down. When you feel that, shall we say, over 51% of your life right now is in the dumps, then that is basically what we would consider to be a weighted down situation. There is a situation, or shall we say a conversation, in regards to one of your past books that you would refer to as the Law of One. In the Law of One, they basically state that if you are moving into a 50 to 51%, shall we say, transformational aspect, where you are loving yourself, where you are loving the earth, where you are loving others, you will graduate into the aspect of this fourth density because you have cut those particular emotional woes in half. This is precisely what we are also stating in that confirmation relating to Ra and communicating with the Law of One, that those particular forms of principles are indeed precise. And so all you are attempting to do right now is weigh off much of the particular excess amount of emotional states. It is okay to be somewhat emotional in the fourth density. We are not saying that you need to completely be stripped off of emotion and be unemotional beings. No, we are not saying that. But as long as you notice that, yes, you are carrying some weight, but you are moving into a state of self-improvement. You are moving yourself into the alignments. You are bringing yourself up into the ascent with very little baggage so that you are able to climb that mountain. Because again, when you decide to climb a mountain, you will have a backpack on you. And there will be a little bit of weight here and there to allow yourself to make that climb. That is fine. But as long as the weight is not weighing you down so severely that you can barely walk, that would be something pertaining to a state of concern. So again, if we're looking at this in a state of percentage, if you have, again, the idea that you are moving up into the 50% or more area, representing the idea of emotional release, or that you may feel that you are, shall we say, in that particular, shall we say, 50% or lower, that is basically what brings about the idea of this transformation. So our particular recommendation is move up into the 51% and above, because 50-50 can again be the silver lining. So look into the idea of how you are moving deeper into the silver lining by going into the higher states of the percentages as it relates to emotional release. So move yourself up into that particular way, not feeling that you are being dominated by any particular severe emotional karma that is weighing you down potentially.
Beautiful, and thank you for the answering of the question. Thank you, Joshua, for the call.
We are here at this time. We bid you greetings, and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis of Sirius, and we will speak once again relating to the follow-up discourse as it relates to your 2016 fourth density Earth shift. As stated in the day previous of your time that we have come forward and shared this particular information, some may still be wondering a little bit more about the idea of this concept of shift. So basically everything that we have outlined in that particular discourse is again valid. And that precisely around the time between your equinox and between the time of your winter solstice will be the gateway transit, will be the transitional shift of moving yourselves into a locked-in state of fourth density. Now basically, when we say a locked-in state of fourth density, does that mean that you will be completely oblivious to what is occurring in third density? No, you will not, because third density still holds particular ties pertaining to you. But again, as we've stated, that this is a locked screen version relating to what is happening. It is as if you are seeing a transparent screen door locking behind you, and you are therefore witnessing what is transitioning through the idea of a third density Earth, while you are also playing within your fourth density Earth. So as we stated, is that it is not about blocking out a particular form of density. It is the idea that you are moving up a ladder, moving up a rung of a ladder. When you move up the fourth rung of a ladder, the other three do not disappear. They are still present. But basically what is happening is that you have moved into a state of love, of self-responsibility, where you have worked very diligently in helping to resolve many different forms of karmic woes, emotional situations. And that again, as you have reached the state of 51% or higher, representing that of graduation, this will move you into the fourth density rung of the ladder, which means that you will still be observational to that of the first, second, and third density. Those people are not disappearing in that particular way, but they do not have, shall we say, direct associations with you karmically. And so the whole idea is that you are observing, witnessing the idea of those particular beings. Now again, as we have stated, is that third density is still attempting to play itself out in regards to, shall we say, those aspects as it represents extremes. We would state that again, it would take between the next 1 to 2 generations before the idea of a full fourth density Earth is cultivated in your perspective, which means that everything that you are going to be witnessing within the fourth density will become, shall we say, commonplace. But there are still certain extremes. There are still certain, shall we say, transformational dramas that are taking place within the third density that you are here to witness. So that is primarily the difference. So again, between the next 50 to 100 years, you would see that there is much more of a clean slate as it pertains to a fourth density Earth. The idea of these next 1 to 2 generations approximately is being able to again smooth out the waters, but again they are going through extreme spikes at this time. So again, the differences that you will feel when you are moving into fourth density is that you will feel much more of a karmic immunity pertaining to the idea of third density energy. What this basically means in that sense, it's not saying that you are impervious to problems,
but it is more so in the idea that you are noticing these particular attachments that you are forging, and you will become more conscientious of them on a more immediate level. Now, we will be able to speak more on karmic immunity in regards to what you know as a future video in that particular way. But the whole idea really is that you have reached a state of karmic immunity once you are locked in to fourth density. The transparent screen door closes, and again, you are witnessing everything. And regardless of all the onslaughts of all the melodramatic situations that are happening in the third density, those particular types of energies are being bounced off this transparent screen door. And so again, you may want to feel that you are being involved, but you realize that you are snapping to. You are snapping back, and you are being conscientious about what you are attempting to absorb, and you are brushing it off in that particular way. You are sending love to those particular individuals, because love is the key to allowing this karmic debris to therefore be purged, transitioned, and transcended. So that is primarily what is taking place. So again, you will experience a world that is still very much like your physical earth. The physicality attributes do not change. It is the idea that you are moving up a dimensional aspect. You are moving up a density aspect. You are moving up into an octave. The fourth density earth does not represent the idea where you are light beings. It is more so in the idea of working together with, shall we say, a silica or crystalline form energy. It does involve light, of course, so you could say yourself as an illuminated crystalline energy in that particular way. But what you would know as the crystalline that exists within your own physical matrix. So you are still a physical human being as you see yourself now. But you are working together in the energies that are prosperous, that are assisting you with love and self-responsibility. That is the primary key here. And so again, many of you will notice when these changes will happen, as it moves into the fall, as it comes into the winter, that you will simply wake up one morning and you feel that something is different in the air. Something is different about yourself. Some of you will be able to detect this. Some of you may just feel it so flawlessly that there is nothing that you have particularly noticed in regards to change, because you're moving yourself up into these elevational states each and every single moment that you exist. So some of you will be very casual about it. Some of you will be noticeable about it. But this is primarily what's happening. The veil, the strips that once in that sense held the blanket of the third density transcending itself into the fourth density are now starting to come off. And basically this is where the blanketing effect is coming together. So it is a blanket. It is not the idea in that sense of you being fully emerged into the idea of a fourth density nexus, because if that were the case, you would not be experiencing any, shall we say, residual third density phenomena. So again, it is a blanketing situation. You are moving up an octave of moving more into the idea of a fourth density Earth. You are stepping your feet upon a fourth density planet that is still, when you look behind, working out third density affairs. So it is a much more deeper revealing. It is a much more, shall we say, clandestine arena for you to understand that now that you are within the fourth density, you are capable of performing certain acts of love, kindness, self-responsibility that will transcend your realizations. That you can become more intuitive, that you can become more empathic, that you are able to develop new systems that represent a new culture. And so it is more so in the idea of learning from the past and allowing all of those particular forms of transformational challenges to bring you into an exploration of vastness. That is what we want to share here. And again, as we stated, that there will still be a continual transition to going deeper into fourth density as the third density continues to play out its extremes, which again will take about 1 to 2 generations, approximately 50 to 100 years approximately. So that is what we wish to share with all of you, is realizing that many of you are going to be locked in, are going to be moved into fourth density, are going to work together in developing through yourself the ability of karmic immunity and being able to prosper yourselves, progress yourselves in the ways that you know are in alignment with your own heart space, in the alignment with your fellow man, your fellow woman, your fellow child, and connecting and prospering and creating a whole new earth existing within the fourth density. I am Adronis of Sirius. Thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. We now return to the conduit. We'll speak to you again, as now is forever, and all is one. Goodbye.